All right, let's get underway then. Hour 6 o'clock has arrived. We'll get underway with the Beal Early Childhood Center Building Committee for Tuesday, September 10th, 2019, 6 p.m. in the Old Selectmen's Room. First item is called the meeting to order, which we have done, the meeting minutes of August 13th, 2019. Any comments? Val, would you make one further explanation for me in 4A Minuet 1, where it references Project Dog? 25 years from now, when someone's trying to figure out what we were up to, I think it would be worth adding quotes around Project Dog and somehow referencing a software project used in the construction industry for receipt and compilation of bids, if that's accurate. Is that accurate?
Electronic bidding pre-qualification.
There you go.
Got it.
So we could just add such language for history, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Is that acceptable to the committee? All right, motion's been made to accept as amended. All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, we're unanimous. Item 3, we will review and act on the following bill schedules and warrants, vendor expense item and amount. Fontaine Brothers, Inc., requisition number 007, $889,055. Lamoureux, Pagano and Associates, invoice 1717-1908 for $435,042.57. And PMA Consultants, LLC, invoice 0411-27 for $72,907.50. Any questions or comments on these requests for payments? If not, is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the vendor expense items as articulated. All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we're unanimous. Item 4, we will hear reports, review, and act on the following matters. The report from the owner's project manager. Good evening.
Good evening. Deb apologized, she couldn't make it tonight, so I will take a walk through the budget sheet. No new encumbered to date, same 23,820,313. Submitted to the MSBA in ProPay is 7.3 million. Reimbursements to date are 3.5 million. And we'll continue to submit on a monthly basis and move forward. I know we have another agenda item, so I'll wait to update the committee on the construction cost estimates.
Thank you very much.
Any questions on the financials?
Just an observation that we talked about a few minutes ago.
Yep, adding the index.
Oh no, that's another item, but the third to the last and second to the last line item, there will always be a difference there. It's not as if money is unaccounted for or somehow in float. Those are the unreimbursable and non-reimbursable items.
Correct.
In the event anybody else was looking for $4 million. Item 4B, report from the architect.
Good evening. We're really progressing forward. As you may recall from the schedule, September 30th, we're publishing 100% documents to be available for the rest of the trade contractors. In the meantime, we've been doing the pre-qualification process for all the filed sub-bid contractors. We have a meeting this week to review kind of where we are in the process. We've divided it out amongst all the divisions, scoring these, and disqualifying any contractors that don't have similar past projects or capacity to take on this type of work. So just so you know, there is that built-in kind of review process to the bidders that are coming forth, even though you already have Fontaine on as your CM. Besides that, everything else has just been great. It's been a great opportunity to work with the town of Shrewsbury again. All the local authorities, we've had some recent meetings to go through some of the final review processes, permits, approvals, and it's been great. So I just kind of wanted to reiterate that again. Thank you.
Questions for the architect? Anything coming on the horizon that should concern us?
No. We're going to talk a little bit about, we did get some bid numbers in on steel and concrete. As you know, that was part of the 90% package. Those came in right below, actually, where we were hoping them to come in at. The market seems to be good for where we're going, which is very promising for all the filed trade bids coming up, and hoping to see some additional savings to the town. So actually, positive, very positive outlook going forward. I guess I don't want to put too fine of a spin on it, but
Nope, no reason to. All right, thank you. If there are any questions for the architect, we'll move to 4C, report from the construction manager for schedule update and construction progress.
Yep, hello, I'm Frank. Schedule's going great. If you went by there, you notice that the buildings are just about down. By the end of next week, they should be completely off-site. And we're doing earthwork, road work on Lake Street. The bypass is in. They have to they have to chlorinate it, have it tested, and then we'll be ready to rip up that street in earnest and start really digging it out. So there's no issues or problems with that at all.
Okay. When do you see the trucking of naturally occurring arsenic soil to the landfill?
That could happen tomorrow. We're waiting for one
Really?
letter to come in
Okay.
from the town to Wheelabrator.
And do you see that being an on again, off again, or primarily an on again until done?
Till done.
So constant
Yep.
hauling?
Yep.
Any sense of how many trucks a day?
No, talking to the site contractor today, I think the 30,000 yards was conservative. We were able to utilize a lot of the soil that we were able to reprocess and
Yep.
grind up some of the foundations. So a lot of the soil is going to be able to be used on site,
Okay.
which is good.
So conservative in that overly protective, not
Yes.
conservative in terms of undercounting.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Mr. Fontaine?
No, as Sean alluded to, we received very good competitive bids on the concrete and the steel scopes of work. We were happy with the numbers, we were happy with the bidder interest, they responded well to the level of quality of the documents, so all around about as good as we could expect there. We have some formal meetings tomorrow morning with the bidders that have been vetted out to be the low and likely the recommended bidders if those meetings go well. And then if those go well and we're ready to move forward with those scopes, we'll assemble an amendment similar to what we did the last time
Yep.
with PMA and LPA, which will then be presented to Mr. and Ms. Carr for review and approval. And we will, our critical path items are getting those guys recommended so they can move forward with their shop drawings for the concrete and for the steel. And we're still, shooting towards concrete starting on site in October, like we've been saying all along, racing against the winter.
As much as price is important, are you seeing the contractors' interest from those contractors you would look forward to working with?
Yeah, we're very happy with the pool that was selected. It was, there's a lot of work being bid right now in Central Mass and Eastern Mass. There's a lot of public work, private work, a lot of stuff that's kind of on the horizon. And we were very active in continuing to communicate over the past several months with these guys of exactly when the bid documents are coming out, when bids were going to be due, what the schedule for award and construction would be. Because you talk to any of the subs right now, they've got more projects being offered to them to bid than they can support estimating wise. So I think that we're good at the outreach in this stage, and we're already doing that with the trades that will follow, all the mechanicals, electricals, and non-trades. So
Great.
good interest and good pricing.
And do you two see anything coming up on the horizon that we should be concerned about?
Winter.
What?
That's, no, not joking aside, I mean, it's an important part of the project this fall and into this winter to
Yep.
get the concrete going. Structural steel, we forecast will go right through that January, February, so really the biggest thing that could throw a wrench in our plans at this point would be if we ran into some, awful winter that sets you back, but documentation-wise, procurement-wise, we're right on track with where we've been trending all along.
And in terms of off the site, specifically the road, you're still very comfortable that that is on schedule
Yes.
to reopen as we think today, unless something goes sideways?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right, great. Questions, comments, anything further? Nope. All right, thank you very much. Item 5 is to review and vote to recommend security cameras as a proprietary specification to the school committee. Who wants to outline this one, other than the fact that we use a certain type, so we should buy more of that certain type?
In simple terms, yeah, that's the best way to kind of characterize it.
I'll
to
sit
keep
for my
it.
architect's stamp now with that. Everyone had the documentation, unless there's a level of discomfort or further questions, could I have a motion? Motion been made and seconded to approve the vote to recommend to the school committee approval of the security cameras as proprietary specification. All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed are unanimous. Item 6 is to review and vote to authorize the town manager to execute an amendment to Fontaine Brothers, Inc. pre-construction contract for early bid package 2, EBP 2. The scope of EBP 2 is concrete and structural steel. Mr. Mizikar.
I would like if Mr. Hartley could just outline where we're headed with this, and
Absolutely.
from there.
So it kind of ties into the next item, but we'll just kind of speak to that. So we did have our reconciliation meeting on the 4th. I did email this out to Patrick, but I'll email this out to the group, sorry about that. Estimates, construction cost budget at the voter-approved budget for schematic design was $74,111,830. Our last two estimates, Fontaine was $72,889, and AM Fogarty, who is LPA's estimator, is $71,784. So we are currently trending under budget right now, which is great news. Those are inclusive of the numbers that Fontaine has received for steel, and also inclusive of the numbers that were used for early bid package 1 for demolition and abatement and site work, earthwork. So we feel that we're in a good place. Fontaine feels that we're in a good place for structural steel and concrete. We're going to be working, we have a meeting tomorrow, we're going to be working over the next couple days to finalize the same type of package with the holds and allowances that we'll need to get through until the GMP would be finalized. So that's kind of the scope that we're looking for and what we'd be presenting. But we feel that the competition's been good. The leveling of the playing field by Fontaine has been great for all the bidders. So it's all been, every sub's been bidding the same scope of work, and we've made sure to carry that across. So.
Comments?
So this is kind of the next to final total change that will be happening. We continue, as Mr. Hartley said, to move forward at or below budget. This is the last early bid package, and then the final issuance will be the actual, the balance of the project after the steel and construction. So the committee would authorize my execution of these particular aspects of the construction project, being the concrete and steel, since we are in accordance or below budget, and I would sign off on those per town council's documents that he's prepared in the same format as we did early bid package 1.
Great, and then just, when you do, please put it on the agenda item so we can hear
Sure.
back about what was actually signed. Questions, comments on this matter? Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the item. All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, we're unanimous. Thank you very much. Item 7, review reconciled 90% construction design estimates and authorize submission to the Mass School Building Authority. Who wants this one?
So I kind of touched on it.
Yeah.
That was really the update, so I'll let Sean add anything.
It's
he
a
wants to.
little, yeah, so I had shared a Dropbox folder with the
Yep.
entire binder, drawing specs, and also you saw there was a separate estimate folder. In that, you saw that there was 2 estimates. The state requires that we produce the estimates both in CSI and uniformat. If you really got into the nitty-gritty, you'll see that some go by scope division, like if it's masonry, the other one goes by like superstructure, shell, more the parts of the building rather than the individual trades that are performing it. So as you saw, you could compare them section by section if you really wanted to get into it, but what we did is we kind of gave you this top overview sheet that PMA put together, which really starts to give you what is the uniformat, which is more the components of the building, the superstructure, the shell. There's some smaller subcategories that get into, windows. And you can see the side-by-side between what AM Fogarty produced. As you may or may not know, these are completely independent estimates, and we come together like we did on the 4th, and we start to reconcile. So as you can see, what MSBA shoots or targets to see is less than 5% delta between trade, or I should say categories. You'll see, I think there might have been a few small ones that are above, but if you look at the actual quantities, those numbers were very low, so it's easy to achieve kind of a high delta. They were usually in like the $100,000 range or something. I think maybe the elevator was like a little over 5%, but it's such a small scope that when you level it out, we ended up being less than, I believe it was 1%, 1.5, sorry, it was 1.54% overall construction cost difference between these. So very tight. Feel very good about where the numbers are, what we're seeing the numbers are coming at. And like I said, we are, as you may or may not realize, when we did early bid package 1, we build in some allowances and scope holds for unforeseen conditions. Some of them are related to design advancements. Some of them are related to like the arsenic soil and trucking and other things like that. Similar with our early bid package number 2, we're going to have some of those same allowances. And the great thing about those is that if they never actually arise, those are additional savings to the project that can be seen. So there will be some of that built into this package. And with that and where we're seeing, the other thing you might notice, escalation was decreased to only 0.5 percentage point. We're really about 6 weeks out from bidding, the start of bidding. So that's really fair. As you can also see that the design contingency, I actually don't think it's called out as a percentage here as much as it was on the individual estimates, but the design contingency, I believe, was reduced only to 1% now, when previously we were upwards of even, or very early on, we were at like 10%, and then we came down to 5%, and then we were at 3%, and so we're only carrying a percentage point, which at this point is still a fairly healthy, kind of conservative approach to estimating to make sure that we come in the budget you're hoping to achieve for this project.
Questions, comments?
Just one question. So within this document, it has 2 line items, site preparation and site improvements, which is already under contract, so I was just curious to know why those are still being estimated again, or estimated again.
I believe Fontaine has their numbers in there, and the AMF carried them as the estimates again, based
Right,
off the
so
drawings.
for the items, there's items as part of those sections that are already procured, for example, the paving, the utilities, everything that was in that early package. So for the items that are procured, the numbers that we build that part of the estimate with are locked in lump sum numbers. In those categories, you'd also see a little bit of change in some of those from last time, I believe, and the reason is that items like landscaping, for example, would fall into the site improvement category, but we haven't bought that yet, right? So like the site work, think of it, pretty much everything pavement and down has been bought, but a lot of the landscaping, lawns and grasses and playgrounds and stuff are not bought yet, so those are still having flowing.
Was there a question, I'm sorry? Oh. Okay, any other questions, comments on that? Everyone square with this? All right. So do you need a vote on 7?
I believe we do need a vote for number 7.
authorize?
Sean.
Yeah.
The authorization, yeah.
The desired motion would be to authorize submission to the Mass School Building Authority of the reconciled 90% construction design estimates.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, be unanimous. Thank you very much. Number 8, review and authorize the town manager to sign the installation/builder's risk insurance policy number MK2L9L 470889-019. Val, is that real or did you just make that up? Okay, good. Kevin, you want to
Yeah,
walk us
sure.
through?
So, as I've discussed with the committee, it's been my desire from the start of the project. I think it puts the town in the best position to be the owner of the builder's risk policy, and I've worked with our broker that does our general insurance, and they solicited through a number of companies a proposal, and we've settled on this policy that's before you with Liberty Mutual and the value of $110,900. It would span a 2-year time period for construction and allow for items of natural and human error, natural disaster and human error throughout the course of this time, protecting the town's interest both of materials and workmanship on-site and materials in transit. So I would seek the committee's approval and authorizing me to sign and execute this and put the policy in place, and we can update you at the next meeting since this was a late addition.
Great, I would like to have a confirmatory vote at our next meeting, but is there a motion to authorize the manager to sign the installation builder's risk insurance policy number as previously stated?
Mr. King, just
Yes.
one quick question. I'm not sure if Mr. Mizikar is able to answer this now or later, just based upon the timing of getting this. But do we know if how this falls with the budget, overall budget for the builder's risk insurance policy for the total project?
I honestly think it's slightly higher than what Fontaine had carried in theirs. I think theirs was a little over 100,000. I won't put you on the spot. So I think this is a little north of that, but within a fair range, I believe.
You said 110, I'll see if I can pull it up. Okay. I don't know if I'll be able to.
Number that's off the top of my head is in that maybe 107, 108.
Yep.
It's very close to
Yeah,
what you're saying.
110 sounded right around what we had.
Further questions? If they're none, do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to authorize the town manager to sign the installation / builder's risk insurance policy as previously described. All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Item 9 is our next meeting, according to my calendar, would be October 8th, and then November 12th, and December 10th. Do you folks see any reason for us to be planning an out-of-cycle meeting?
What is the date of the next one?
The 8th of October, and then the 12th of November?
The 8th of October would be fine, because at that point, the documents will have just gone out to bid.
Okay.
The 12th of November, once we get the documents out to bid, and we establish when bids will be due and when we might have a GMP in front of you, maybe that may want to shift. It'll be in that time frame.
Yeah, great.
So if we have a GMP.
Just as long as you can provide us with some advance notice, just the easier it is for folks who might be on other boards or commissions.
Yeah, but I think between now and that October 8th meeting, the action of Kevin being able to authorize the amendment is what we need to keep going.
Great. So our schedule is set through the balance of the year unless we need to change it to deal with priorities of the project. The next item would be to adjourn if there are no other items to come before. Hold on, just 1 second.
Just want to
Go ahead,
confirm, we voted to pass the specs along to school committee for a vote. Is that on the date of that school committee meeting?
The 18th.
The 18th.
Okay.
So you're square with the security and, great, well reasoned. All right, I think I had a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we're adjourned. Thank you all very much. Thank you, guys.